In this video, I'm going to be reviewing this bernzomatic TS8000 torch that I have. It was only $40, and it can burn propane or MAP gas. Propane does not burn as hot, but that's all I have. So I'm going to be testing what metals it melts and showing you how to use it. Remember to subscribe if you like all kinds of cool content. So first off, to use it, basically you first have to connect it to this gas cylinder, any gas cylinder. It says it's only supposed to be used on handheld portable gas cylinders. So anyway, after it is on, you have to screw it on all the way. Then first there's this small yellow button right here. When it's on the lock symbol, you can't ignite the torch, but when you put it on the unlock, you can. See, when I press it down, it sparks inside the tube. So to turn it on, you first need to open this valve, and then to ignite it, you simply do that. I probably want my flame a little bit smaller. So first, I'm going to be trying to melt some lead right here. So let me grab it. I have this lead fishing weight, and I'm going to be melting the tip off just to make sure it can melt lead. I mean, I know it does, but still. There. A drip of it splattered down. I've moved to a better lighted area because you couldn't see what I was doing. So, as you can see right here, I have this melted splatter of lead that dripped off from the piece I was melting. Next, I'm going to go one up the melting heat scale, and also remember that this is running on propane. It could probably melt much more if I ran it on MAP gas. I'm going to go one up the melting scale to zinc. Zinc has a pretty low melting point. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but as you can see, I have a piece of it in this pliers here. So I'm just going to try melting it. There. As you can see, that was very quick. A blob of molten zinc dripped down onto the object I'm using to catch the molten pieces. Next up the scale after the zinc is aluminum. As you can see, a molten drop of aluminum has dripped down onto this measuring cup. Next up, after that aluminum, is brass. you can see, a molten piece of brass has dripped down on top of this measuring cup. That brass was unusually hard to melt. Earlier today I did it quicker, but apparently right now, for some reason it took longer, maybe because it was a bigger piece. Next up after that is copper. I really don't think this torch will be able to melt copper when it's running on propane, but I can always try. I do not think this can melt copper. Here I have my piece of copper sitting on top of a rock, which may act as an insulator so that it can get much hotter. Okay, I think that's about as hot as it's going to get. It seems like it can nearly melt the copper, but not quite. So that's pretty good for running this torch on propane. It can melt, according to my studies at least, everything up to brass, and it could probably melt bronze, since that's just copper alloyed with tin, and tin has a fairly low melting point. But next, I'm going to see if it can melt glass. I really don't think it can melt glass, especially since it can melt copper, but I'm not sure what the melting point of glass is, and whether it's higher than that of copper, though I think it is. So I'm just going to try. This is a glass marble. Okay, that marble is glowing orange, but I don't think that this thing can melt it no matter how good it is, because it's running on propane. Now with MAP gas, or I guess it's actually propylene, it can most certainly melt copper. I've seen it done. So I guess that's all it can melt, which is pretty good. Also, it does say on the package not to leave it connected, not to leave the cylinder connected to the torch all the time, because the constant pressure can damage the valves. So whenever you're done with it, just unhook it. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for all kinds of cool videos on random experiments. See you in my next video.